Hey everyone, I'm Princess Lake and welcome back to Metal Gear Solid. Had my spot, but then my phone's stupid and the SD card keeps getting effed up and I have no space. Got 2 games and some other stuff, Anyway, Chapter 17. Snake left the medical room and found himself in familiar surroundings. He was in the first basement of the original building near the prison cells where he'd seen Anderson and Merrill. He decided to search the outer area where Johnny's office was located. Maybe he could find some SOCOM ammunition and more grenades. Snake fitted the sound suppressor onto the handgun and edged around the corner to look. A lone guard sat at a desk reading a newspaper. The kid gloves were off now. No fooling around. Snake beater flashbacks, I'm sorry. Snake beater is just one of those things, I can't stop laughing over it. I'm definitely gonna involve that in Metal Gear, but I made it clear for the record. Okay. No fooling around. I'm sorry. She's just a really horny person, okay? Oh, okay. Snake shot the man in the head. He then aimed the SOCOM at the brand new security camera that someone had installed during the last couple of hours and blew it to bits. He moved into the room and found the cell where Anderson had been. Using Johnny's cell door key, he swiped it in the lock and opened it. What the hell? Anderson's corpse was still lying on the floor where he'd had a heart attack and died. He's still a fresh too. Speaking of heart attacks, I decided to rewatch Death Note today. Naomi from Death Note is so much cooler than Metal Gear Naomi. For the record, oh my god, stop falling. And who was that other guy? It's just everyone's having heart attacks, and I'm like, it's Fox-Die, but not really, because it's Death Note. I mean, Death Note's really good up until L dies, and then after that, what's even the point in watching it? I have not seen the Netflix Death Note, by the way. I mean, I'm gonna watch it eventually, but the whitewashing is kind of really shitty. If you wanted Death Note with white people, then just just have an entirely different story. Don't just I feel that would actually be more interesting than continuously adapting the Death Note manga. Just completely different story about someone who finds a Death Note. But apparently Willem Dafoe as Ryuk is really good, and the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies were my childhood. What got me into Spider-Man and comics in the first place. Also, I've been playing the Spider-Man for the PS4 a lot recently, and it made me really nostalgic for the Sam Raimi movies. It made me... I really want to re-watch them now. I mean, they were my childhood, okay? Everyone's the Sam Raimi movies are so bad. And I'm okay, but that show was my childhood. Stop making fun of it. I'm the first 2 were really good. Everyone agrees that the first 2 were really good. The third one is whatever. But the first 2, that's some good shit, man. He didn't have time to ponder the mystery. Snake left the cell and went straight to Johnny's office. He shot the lock off a steel cabinet, opened the doors, and found what he was looking for. Plenty of ammunition for both the SOCOM and the PSG-1, some frags, stun, and chaff grenades, C4 explosives, and a splendid commando knife that looked like it was a Baron Sykes U.S. Marine issue. Snake took as much as he could carry, made sure the weapons were fully loaded, and then strapped the knife's sheath to his right calf. Sorry. Wait, his calf? Not his thigh? Then if you have have a weapon on your calf, and you'd have to like bend over to get it. I mean, I'm assuming. Typically, one would have to bend over to get something on their calf. But whatever. He was curious about a large flat box on one of the cabinet shelves. He pulled it out, set it on Johnny's desk, and opened it. He almost laughed aloud. You don't find many of these in Cracker Jack boxes. Heck, David. God, no. You see this? It's kind of creeping me out. I'm not gonna lie. So is this, but mostly because that does not resemble a human person in any way at all. I don't like it. Okay? Anyway. It was what they called a tank torso. A Kevlar-coated M111 combat vest. In other words, body armor. He pulled it out of the box and was surprised by its light weight. Nevertheless, he put it on and strapped it tight. It wouldn't stop an Akita rocket shell, but it might protect him from a boulder too. Couldn't help to keep it. Snake? He glanced at the codec. It was Master Malloy's frequency. Hey! He answered. Oh my god. Like, this is a terrible Snake confession. I am well aware. I heard you had a little trouble. Nothing a good massage and bottle of vodka wouldn't cure. Colonel, I'm trying to sneak around, but I'm jummy thick. The clap of my ass cheeks keeps alerting the guys. You know, I was tortured in Nam. The Viet Cong were vicious little bastards, but I had the satisfaction of blowing the brains out of the chief interrogator when I escaped. I plan on doing the same thing to Revolver Ocelot. What's up? Snake, I need you to change brands. Those cigarettes you like are going out of style. Snake understood. That was code that meant he should switch to his gear frequency. Do you have a suggestion? Snake asked him. I like the ones with the gold band, 23% nicotine, and 7% tie. People who drink in black ties, they get a ship on so far. Oh my god. I have a really bad habit of naming Metal Gear fanfic after lines from Xenoblade X songs. Like, all my, Metal Gear, but I made it Gear spin-offs. They called, like, is, I Will Wait for You, So Nah, So Fern, Don't Take My Sorrow, Pray for Tomorrow, Over the Rainbow, Glorious Sight, and then there's, Turning Saints into the Sea, like, jealousy, turning saints into the sea, swirling acoustic lullabies. I love that song. But I mean, who doesn't love Mr. It's iconic. Anyway, I'll keep that in mind. Thanks. He signed off and configured the codec to receive messages from the frequency 23.7, which was unusual since codec frequencies normally began with the number 1. Master Miller's voice returned a few seconds later. You there, Snake? I'm here. I didn't want the Colonel or anyone else hearing this. What? I've heard some very disturbing chatter in the intelligence community. What do you mean? I think you should be very wary of your internal contacts. And that includes our friend Roy and that doctor. Even the Secretary of Defense. Houseman? I mean, the name that dumb, you can't trust it. I know it's hard to believe, but there's a traitor in your midst. Watch your back. Wait, how do you know that? But Miller had already signed off. Snake bimbled and turned the codec back to receive his normal channels. Colonel! Yes, Snake? Campbell sounded tired. I'm on my way back to the communications tower. I've got a long way to go. We know. Mei-Ling, what kind of intel do you have on enemy activity between Snake's position and the comm tower? The woman reported. We're still having satellite interference because of the storm, and the underground shielding doesn't help. But I think you can bet that most of the Genome soldiers are now located in the other buildings, closer to the 2 towers, and the Lord of the Rings! Yay. I'm not gonna lie, I barely remember the Lord of the Rings movies. Like, I saw them so long ago, and I was only half paying attention to the last one. Which is actually how I watch most movies now. Like, and shows and, like, everything. Like, I can't just watch TV. Like, I have to be playing, like, video games or something. It's great. anyway. And the building north of that, the underground maintenance base. Nevertheless, exercise extreme caution, Snake. I always do, Colonel. Thanks, Mei Ling. He signed off and made his way to the tank hangar, where he'd first seen the Abrams he'd destroyed. The huge room was devoid of humans, and it seemed that all the power was off. Not only that, the cargo door was still open. The wind had blown snowdrifts several yards into the hangar. Mei Ling was right. They were all in the other buildings. Except for the lone guard in the cell area, the terrorists had abandoned this facility. But what had happened to Revolver Ocelot? Surely he was still around somewhere. The bastard hadn't finished with the torture sessions. Knowing him, the one-handed sadist would have kept it up for days until Snake had broken. Then they would have killed him. It was too easy. It was as if the terrorists wanted him to escape. Fine, he thought, I'll play into their hands. He trudged through the snow-covered canyon back to the nuke building. If they had a reception waiting for him there, he'd be ready for it. The blizzard had let up. It was still... I don't know what's going on with this. Like I have one of those clip thingies. I don't know. I think my hair is just too... Ugh. It was still snowing in the canyon, but it was the kind of slow-falling snow that reminded Snake of one of those decorative glass globes that one shook to make the snow fall. You mean a snow globe, David? Do you not know what they're called? David, I love you. The sky above had a dull, dark blue tint to it, but the stars were visible through the clouds. It was a beautiful yet unnerving effect, similar to those odd times when it rained while the sun shone. Snake checked the location of the Claymore mines with the detector and noted that they were still there. He skirted them and hugged the icy rock wall as he headed for the structure at the other end of the chasm. The Abrams tank sat in a heap where it had been hit, blackened and charred from the explosion. The dead gunners had been covered completely by the snow, buried in cold, lonely graves. The loading door to the nuke building was wide open. Again, Snake had the uneasy feeling that they wanted him to continue his mission. He kept to the edge of the wide doorway, peered inside, and saw 3 NBC troopers carrying items from one side of the storage facility to the cargo carrier that still sat on the ramp. Snake couldn't imagine how the truck was going to move anywhere with the snow so deep. Perhaps they were simply loading it to be ready sometime in the near future. He crept up the incline, removed a stun grenade from his pouch, pulled the pin, and tossed it at the truck. The bright flash lit the warehouse with searing intensity as the 3 men hollered in surprise. 2 went down for the count, but the 3rd stumbled blindly away from the truck. He pulled the FAMAS from his shoulder and began to shoot indiscriminately in Snake's direction. Snake hit the floor and crawled forward on his belly until he had a good angle, and then took the man out with one shot from the SOCOM. It was a quick elevator ride to the first basement level. The floor was quiet and empty too. Snake wondered how many people this Shadow Moses facility employed. Where were all the civilian hostages? Had they all become brainwashed slaves of the terrorists? Or were they all lying dead somewhere, a pile of corpses resembling the hard death pits of Nazi concentration camps? Psycho Mantis's body lay on the floor of the commander's room, exactly where he had fallen. They don't care much for collecting the wounded or dead, do they? Snake experienced a fleeting moment of resemblance, remembered, as he made his way to the secret passage. The image of Meryl holding a gun to her head, ready to blow out her brains, was not something he was likely to forget soon. Speaking of Metal Gear Solid, I really love how whenever the characters are talking, they just move all over the place. Like, oh my god, it's hilarious. It's hilarious, okay? Anyway. Ugh. The cavern passages were as damp and cold as before, but the wolf dogs no longer howled. The animals probably were sleeping, though Snake had no concept of what time it might be. That's a mood. Like, I don't know what time it is. Last I checked, it was like 11. It could be 1 for all I know. I never know what freaking time it is, man. It was a type of mission in which he merely kept track of how many hours had elapsed since his arrival and how long until the deadline. Day and night were immaterial. Snake figured it had been at least 12 hours since he'd climbed onto the Shadow Moses dock from the sea. He emerged from the cave into the underground passage leading to the tower base. A blood patch remained on the spot where Meryl had been shot. The sights and sounds of those terrible moments came flooding back to Snake. He wished he'd made her stay behind. If only she'd listened to him. If only he hadn't let her talk him into allowing her to accompany him. If only, if only. There is no such thing as if only or but in this business. It was another of Master Miller's philosophical axioms. Before moving closer to the tower, Snake swung the sniper rifle off his shoulder, looked through the scope, and spotted 2 troopers patrolling the second-floor balcony from which Sniper Wolf had taken pot shots at him. The 2 men symmetrically marched back and forth, coming together in the middle of the balcony and then moving in opposite ends before turning and repeating the pattern in reverse. Snake centered the crosshairs on one man's head and steadily followed him as he approached his colleague. As soon as the 2 men were side by side, Snake fired. The round entered the temple of the second man closest to Snake, exited, and then penetrated the second man's temple. Blood and gray matter from both soldiers splattered onto the tower wall. 2 birds with 1 shot. That's not the same, David. Side note, at one point I decided that all of the snakes are autistic, and so is Hal. Because I'm autistic, and I don't know, man. It's just like one of those things, you know? Oh my god. Now it's messing up the, sayings in Metal Gear Solid 2. It's adorable. When he's talking about Achilles, and he thinks that it's Paris, France, instead of Paris, the Paris. It's hilarious. I love him. Anyway, Snake was particularly cautious when he approached Tower Base. He didn't want to repeat of what had happened the last time, but no soldiers fast roped from above, and there was no opposition awaiting him. The door from which Sniper Wolf had emerged was shut and required a level 6 pan card to open. Snake swiped the card Otacon had given him, and the panel slid to the side, revealing a dimly lit corridor. He edged around the opening, immediately saw its security camera mounted on the wall, and blasted it with his Soka. Snake! It was the guy again. Deep Throat. Snake, are you there? Yeah. The tower's crawling with guides. Be careful. I don't see any yet. They're all on the inside. I suggest taking the stairs to the roof and then crossing the sky bridge to the second tower. How do you know all this? Who are you? Oh, and there's a gun camera just inside the first floor stairwell. You'll have to take it out as soon as you open the door. Thanks. One other thing. If you make it to the second tower, go to the 3rd floor. There's a portable Stinger missile launcher on the conference room there. The terrorists were inspecting it earlier, and I'm pretty sure they left it in the room. Why would I want to carry around a Stinger missile launcher? It might keep in handy. Look, Deep Throat, or whatever your name really is. You have to rely on stealth to get around. I mean, the launcher is heavy and cumbersome. It was just a suggestion. By the way, have you looked inside your pouch for anything that doesn't belong? What are you talking about? It might be a good idea. Are we ever gonna meet face to face? Snake asked. I don't know, perhaps. Maybe we already have. The transmission broke off. Snake cursed to himself and grudgingly looked inside the pouch. There were grenades, the C4 device, a couple of boxes of ammunition, his rations, and something else. It was the size of a grenade, but it was something he'd never seen. It was definitely electronic. A tiny LED indicator blinked down in seconds. He'd been carrying a goddamn bomb. Snake tossed it back into the passage and ducked. The thing exploded with the strength of 2 sticks of dynamite. Snake held his position for several seconds and listened for any evidence of nearby guides. How did Deep Throat know? That's a good question, actually. Snake breathed a sigh of relief and continued to the end of the hallway. There was a coiled rope hanging on the wall. He didn't know why, but he had an inclination to take it. If he was going to climb 20-something flights of stairs, the rope might just be useful. He grabbed it and put the coil around his neck. Now he really felt like a mule, with both the rope and the sniper rifle hanging from his shoulders. Snake readied the SOCOM, stood to the side of the stairwell door, and opened it. The gun camera, a surveillance device with a weapon attached to it had turned automatically toward the open door. I need to register whether the person entering the stairwell was friend or foe. Oh yeah, I always forget those things exist, and then I get shot. Snake reached around with one hand and, without looking, fired at the mechanism. It was disabled with finality. Snake then entered the stairwell, closing the door behind him, and proceeded in a vertical direction. It was going to be a long climb. He was reminded of his days at boot camp, when he had to carry heavy loads up and down a hill to build his stamina. Here he was again, encumbered with a sniper rifle, a rope, a handgun, a knife, a pouch full of explosives and ammunition, and body armor. At least he felt invincible. As soon as he got to the 5th floor landing, an alarm sounded throughout the building. Snake figured his destruction of the gun camera had triggered it, or perhaps they found the 2 dead troopers on the 2nd floor balcony. Whatever the reason, he knew he was about to have company. Snake drew the SOCOM, made sure it had a full magazine, and continued the ascent. The 7th floor stairwell door burst open and 2 troopers appeared on the landing. Before they had time to register Snake's presence, the operative had shot them both. One man careened over the stairwell rail and fell several stories before colliding with a flight of steps. Snake was well aware he'd been doing an awful lot of killing since escaping from the cell. For a brief moment, he wondered if he might be overreacting to being tortured and Meryl being hurt. No, that's not it, he told himself. Time's running out. The stakes are higher. I have good reason to resort to extreme methods. Snake increased the speed of his climb, jumped over the remaining corpse, and pushed onward to the 8th floor. By the time he reached the 20th floor, he was out of breath and his legs were aching. Keeping in mind that there were only 7 more levels, he forced himself to press on. But on the 22nd floor, he encountered 3 more guards. They spotted him, shouted, and aimed their FAMAS rifles at him. The bullets chipped off pieces of concrete from the wall behind Snake. The operative dived for the landing below him, removed his stun grenade from the pouch, pulled the pin, and tossed it onto the stairs just as the troopers descended toward him. The blast demolished several steps, and the guys fell through the hole, plummeted to the story, and rolled down several more flights. When they eventually stopped moving, it was obvious from their inelegant body positions that their necks or backs were broken. Snake got up and navigated his way around the huge hole in the staircase, careful not to step on insecure pieces of concrete. By hugging the wall and edging around the hole, he was just able to do so. He stopped on the 21st floor's landing to drink from his canteen and ate one of the ration bites he kept in the pouch. He hadn't realized how hungry he was until then, but he knew he had to conserve the food. When he reached the roof, he was met with blistering cold high winds. There were no guides outside, thank goodness, and it appeared that Snake had a clear path to the other tower via the bridge. Dominating the roof of the 2nd tower was a gigantic satellite dish, the complex's communication relay system. That, along with a view of the landscape, was spectacular. Looking behind him toward the sea, Snake could see the roof of the original building in the distance. The canyon separating it from the nuke building and the snow-covered ground that blanketed the passage to the tower base. He'd come a long way. Snake proceeded to move across the icy skywalk, but stopped when he heard the sound of approaching rotor blades. Oh my god. The Hind D rose from behind the roof of the 2nd tower and unleashed half a dozen 57mm unguided rockets at the satellite dish, causing a magnificent explosion that knocked Snake from his feet. He covered his head and shielded his eyes as the entire tower shook. Daring to peek through his arms, he watched the dish topple onto the bridge connecting the towers, smashing it to pieces. His only route to the 2nd tower had been destroyed. The cackle came from the Hind D's loudspeaker system. That road is closed, Solid! Detour! Detour! Liquid Snake. What is up with you, Eli? The villain was piloting the attack chopper again. The helicopter swung over the 1st tower, placing Snake in an extremely vulnerable position. The operative got to his feet and ran back to the stairwell entrance, but Liquid let loose a Phalange P radio-guided anti-tank missile and destroyed the only possible escape route from the roof. When the smoke cleared, Snake found himself lying on the concrete, covered by debris. Again, he heard the maniacal laughing coming from the chopper's loudspeaker. Snake felt the helicopter hover above him and knew he was a sitting duck. He rolled on his back and fired the SOCOM at the Hind D, knowing full well it was akin to trying to kill a rhinoceros with a rubber band. You shouldn't be trying to kill a rhino in the first place. They're freaking endangered. Like 5 left in the whole world. It's really bad. It's really bad. Save the rhinos. Save the rhinos! Freaking clone them or whatever. I don't care. Save them. I mean, we have the ability to clone shit. There's Zhong and Hua, Chinese monkey clones. They're adorable. You should totally look them up. And Dolly the sheep. Like, I don't know. Save the freaking rhinos, okay? It's humans that are killing them, probably. I'm gonna fight you. More laughter from Liquid. You've got to be kidding, brother! Your puny weapons are no match for one of Russia's best pieces of warfare technology. Snake had the foresight to get to his feet and ran just as Liquid fired the chopper's machine guns at the roof. The bullets followed Snake to the edge of the tower, cornering him. There was no other way off the tower, except down. The rope! Snake tied it into the girder through the other end of the side of the tower, and immediately began a long, difficult rappel down the building. It was something he was adept at doing, but he'd never had to rappel from a height of 27 stories and avoid gunfire from behind D at the same time. He got to what he thought was the 18th or 19th floor when the hind swirled around the tower and pointed its nose at him. "Look at that fly on the wall!" Liquid taunted. "I just love swatting flies." I loved him alone during battle. I'm sorry, it's just got the same freaking energy. Same energy. Another barrage of machine gun fire made a line of bolts just below Snake's feet. He stopped repelling and waited until the attack ended, and then continued the descent. Liquid was playing with him. The pilot could shoot him down easily enough, but it appeared that the terrorist leader just wanted to scare the crap out of him. Yeah, that sounds like Eli. Being a little shit, as usual. I mean, also, you know, they need Snake to use the keycards so they can launch the nukes in the first place. So why even go through all the effort of, like, trying to kill him, or not even kill him, like, fight him, and have sneak around a bunch of dudes? You could just be like, well, we need him to do this. I mean, I guess it'd be less fun to play, but, like, it'd make more sense. Snake reached the ledge halfway down the tower and stopped to rest. He landed on his feet and crouched there as the helicopter came around the tower to shoot again. As the chopper appeared, Snake lay prone on the ledge to avoid the gunfire, but this time Liquid fired another rocket directly at the side of the ledge. The building rocked as the platform exploded in bits, flinging Snake into the air. If he hadn't been clutching at the rope, he'd have fallen to his death. The rope broke his rapid descent, but the impact jerked the life out of his arms. He screamed aloud at the pain, but refused to let go. Miraculously, the rope had not been split by the blast. He hung there for what seemed like an eternity, swinging like a pendulum as the hind circled the tower again. Move, damn it! Move your ass! Me when I'm being lazy. Like, I don't want to do anything. You ever just have days where you, like, you know you should do stuff, but you don't want to? It's me, like, all the time. He forced himself to continue the rappel. Hand over hand, a few feet at a time, lower and lower. He would make it. He had to make it. It was that or die here. Liquid's laugh filled the air as the chopper buzzed around the building's edge. The machine gun bolts sprouted the building around Snake, but not one of them touched him. This convinced him that Liquid didn't really want to kill him yet, and that would be the terrorist leader's mistake. Snake wasn't going to let this guy have another chance if he could help it. Snake was 6 floors above the ground when the helicopter appeared again. This time, Liquid indiscriminately shot rockets at various areas on the tower, creating fireballs that expanded from the building like small suns. The intense heat seared the exposed skin on Snake's face and arms, but he maintained his grip on the rope. What exposed skin on his arms? What are you talking about? Lower, not much farther. He touched the snow on the ground before he realized he'd made it. He dropped and fell into the blessed cold stuff, picked up a handful and rubbed it on his face, and then licked his lucky stars. The snow felt like heaven on his burned skin. But Liquid hadn't given up. The hind hovered low and aimed at the spot where Snake lay. "Try to get to the second tower, brother! Go ahead, give it your best shot!" The terrorist mocked, just to spite the guy. Snake pulled himself to his feet, made sure he had all his stuff, and ran for the second tower base. 2 Phalange P missiles poured out of the chopper and created a hell on earth in front of Snake. He leaped for cover and buried himself in the snow as a wave of fire and brick thundered over him. There was a tremendous rumbling as the ground shook. Debris fell on top of him, but he braced himself for the weight of something heavy. And deadly. But it never came. The tremor dissipated until there was only a crackling noise that filled the air. Snake lifted his head out of the snow and saw that much of the lower 2 floors of the second tower was in ruins and on fire. Whatever was holding up the building must have been awfully strong, for the tower remained standing. Nevertheless, Liquid had presented a new problem facing: how to get through the tower to the other side so that he could get to the underground maintenance base where Metal Gear was housed. The helicopter had disappeared. Perhaps Liquid had decided to end this game of cat and mouse for the time being. Snake made his way around this burning rubble and found a route inside the wreckage. The stairwell was unharmed, but the main entrance and lower floors were impossible to traverse. He would have to climb the stairs again. There was no gun camera awaiting him this time. He ran quickly to the 3rd floor landing, which was just above the blaze, and carefully opened the door. There were screams coming from somewhere on the level, but they were far away. Snake wasn't too concerned about them, so he slipped into the hallway and looked for the conference room. Sure enough, he found it after a couple of jogs in the corridor. He listened at the door and heard nothing, so he threw caution to the wind and went inside. Just as Deep Throat had said, a Stinger missile launcher lay on the table, already armed with a missile. Its open case was on the floor. Snake grinned and contacted Nastasha. Hey, you got me a Stinger, just wanted it back. Congratulations, Snake. I hope it's not too cumbersome for you. It utilizes a 2-color infrared ultraviolet detector with fire and forget technology credit. Looks like it. I trained with one very similar. They assume you have need no instruction how to use it. No, ma'am, but thanks for asking. Nastasha laughed. No problem. After signing off, Snake picked up the launcher and decided that it wasn't much more cumbersome than the Nikita had been. Now he knew how to get rid of the heart. Snake made his way back to the stairwell and continued the ascent to the second tower's floor. He knew it was a dangerous venture. There was no telling if the fire below eventually would weaken the supports that held up the building. The images of what had happened to the World Trade Center towers on 9/11 flashed through his mind. The good old days after 9/11! I'm sorry. It'd be like that sometimes. Those towers had been undone by tons of burning fuel from the airplanes that had crashed into them, and that was not the case here. He felt relatively secure. Nearly 15 minutes later, he arrived on the 27th floor, once again out of breath and feeling the strain in his leg muscles. He stopped to for a minute, drink some more water, and eat another energy bar. There was the sound of footsteps to his right. Snake drew the SOCOM with lightning fast speed. Don't shoot! It's me! Don't shoot! But Snake didn't see anything. Snake, it's me! Otacon deactivated the self-control and appeared standing a few feet away. I'm sorry. You know what this is. You already know what this is. Otacon! Snake lowered the gun and thrust it into the holster. How did you get here? The elevator. But the first floor was short. That's why I took the elevator. It's working? Uh-huh. Gosh, you're incredible. Like a movie hero or something. Snake relaxed and leaned against the wall. The fatigue was catching up to him. No, you're wrong. In the movies, the hero always saves the girl. Oh, you mean Meryl? Sorry. Forget I said anything. Dr. Emmerich opened the stairwell door and looked down. No one followed you. I think you can relax. Snake didn't say anything. Listen, there's something I want to ask you, Otacon said. It's why I followed you up this far. What? Have you ever loved someone? Sorry. That's what you came to ask. No, I mean, I was wondering if even soldiers fall in love. The guy was a bigger nerd than he'd originally thought. What the hell are you trying to say? Do you think love can bloom on a battlefield? That's a really stupid question, Otacon. But to give you an answer, yeah, I do. I think at any time, any place, people can fall in love with each other. But if you love someone, you have to be able to protect them. It's like, I know he's supposed to be asking about Sniper Wolf, but like, it legit just comes off. Like, Hal's got a crush on Dave. It's great. Like, it's like, hey, it's so cool. Do you think... Hal just shows up like, hey, Snakey is so cool. Do you think love can bloom on a battlefield? Otacon nodded happily. I think so too. Snake rolled his eyes and moved toward the elevator. He pushed the button, but the lift was stuck on one of the lower floors. I thought you said this was working. That's weird. It was working before. Otacon took over pushing the button, but nothing happened. I'll go down and see. Leave it to me. I can fix it. Get it working for me, will ya? Snake gazed toward the roof. Now I have to go and swat a fly. Okay, I'll hold down the fort. Good luck! Oh, there's something I forgot to tell you. What? There were 5 stealth camouflage prototypes in my lab. You know, where I got the one I'm wearing. Yeah, so? If you take out the one I have, that leaves 4. This isn't 5th grade math class, Otacon. What's your point? I thought I'd get one for you, so I went back to the lab and, well, the 4 suits are missing. Just thought you'd want to know. Snake found and eyed his new friend, who looked as if he'd been through a ringer and had emerged only half intact. You really look like hell. You okay? Don't worry. I just turned the switch, and it doesn't matter. I just pretend like I'm not here. Then I'm not scared. He flicked on the self-control and vanished. Snake shook his head. Exchange later. Logic. I'm counting on you. See you later. He then strode to the stairwell, went inside, and climbed the last flight of stairs to the roof. Once again, a blast of cold wind struck him in the face. The roof was a mishmash of burned rubble from the earlier destruction of the satellite dish. Black smoke from the building... What about black tie? From the building, burning lower floors filtered up into the sky, creating an ominous black backdrop for the battle that was about to occur. All right, you bastard! Snake muttered, show yourself! As if on cue, the chop-chop sound of the rotor blades grew louder until the giant insect-like hind rose over the side of the roof. So, the snake has finally come out of his hole! A loud spew boomed over the noise of the chopper. Are you ready now, brother? Why are you calling me brother? Snake shouted. Who the hell are you? I'm you! I'm your shadow! What? There's the way the delivery of the line in the game is really hilarious. Ask father! I'll send you to hell to meet with him! With that, 2 S5s shot out of the pods towards the spot where Snake was standing. The operator ran sideways and leaped onto the ice that covered the roof. Like a baseball player sliding into home plate, Snake held the Stinger launcher against his chest and glided on his back across the only unobstructed strip of surface. The deafening explosion behind him jolted the building, and for a moment he was afraid the roof might cave in. He stopped himself from sliding off the edge of the building by slamming his legs against a large piece of rubble that had once been part of the dish. Then, using the wreckage dress cover, Snake crouched and readied the Stinger launcher. He rested the launching tube on his shoulder, focused the sights on the hind, and switched on the guidance system. Apparently, it's supposed to use, like, the sound to beat it, but, like, I did not. And apparently, but, like, it only works on a certain type of TV. And apparently, if you call Campbell without having the right kind of TV, it's just like, you don't have this kind of TV. Oh my god. It's like, no. Okay. I mean, I didn't know you were supposed to do that. So I just used the freaking radar. Like a normal ass person. I mean, you're supposed to use sound. You're supposed to use sound for one of the boss fights in Metal Gear 2, and I didn't do that either, so. You know. Anyway. Liquid Snake must have seen what his enemy was about to do, for he pulled back on the chopper's joystick to elevate the aircraft. But the missile launcher was made to follow the target. The missile was locked onto it. Who's going to hell now, Liquid? Snake said as he pulled the trigger. The heat-sensitive Stinger burst out of the launcher, giving Snake a satisfying kick. Even as the hind rose higher, the missile stayed on track until it plunged into the bottom of the aircraft. It took only a couple seconds. It was better than the 4th of July. Like, you don't think the 4th of July would cause Dave intense anxiety because of his PTSD? Like, you know, I mean, fireworks give me anxiety. And I just don't like loud noises. I don't like fireworks. I'm gonna say it. I don't like fireworks. They're too loud, and they're probably, I can only assume they're terrible for the environment. The back end of the hind disintegrated into a fireball, sending pieces of metal and burning debris in all directions. The blazing hulk wavered in midair as if it were trying to decide what to do, and then it buckled and began spiraling to the earth. A trail of flaming junk followed it down. "That takes care of the cremation," Snake said. He went back to the stairwell. The door had been blown by liquid rockets and stepped inside. He punched Emmerich's frequency on the codec. "Got a gun." "Hey, Snake, I saw the whole thing from the window. That was fantastic." "I'm glad you liked it." "But, Snake, I think I saw someone come out of the cockpit. Looked like a person." "You mean he ejected?" "I couldn't tell for sure. Maybe." "Damn, then it ain't over." "Oh, come on down. The elevator's working." "You fixed it?" "No, that's the weird thing. It just moved by itself. It's headed your way now." "So I can get to where Metal Gear is being stored from the bottom of this building?" "Yeah. The entrance to the underground maintenance space is toward the back of the snowfield, toward the tower. Just remember to take the elevator to the 3rd floor, because below that it's an inferno. You'll have to take the stairs from the 3rd floor down to the ground." "Okay. Find a safe place to hide." "Right. The elevator should be at the top by now." "Thanks. Out." "Out." Snake descended to 27th floor and pushed the elevator button. The doors opened, and sure enough, the empty car was there. He stepped inside and pressed the number 3, but he wasn't alone. Anyway, that's the end of that chapter. I should get a bookmark. A Geiger counter. Yay. 21. No, that's not the next chapter. The next chapter is chapter 18. Anyway, if you like this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!